I welcome everybody who is present here for today's session on business plan or P plan as it is known as. So we have the expert with us, Dr. Vinita Kale from MIT World Peace University School of Management, and she has already delivered the first session for this 1 week webinar series, which was on the first day on finance for engineers, and today she is back for business plan. So I now request Dr. Vinita to please carry on with the session. And again, if there are any questions, I request all the participants to put it up in the chat or maybe wait for the question and answer session at the end. So over to you, madam.
Yes. Okay. A very good morning to each one of you. Today I would be delivering on a business plan, and the flow of the presentation is the introduction, followed by business plan and why it is prepared. What would be the format of a business plan which is expected from investors, and few success stories of some startups, and few guidelines we'll be discussing at the end for preparation of business plan. So to start with, first, when we talk about a business plan, people who prepare a business plan are the ones who want to start something of their own. They are called as entrepreneurs. And so when we talk about what entrepreneurship is, it focuses on delivering value to customers who are willing to pay an amount which covers your cost. So it also talks about fostering an indigenous human spirit and improving humankind. So if you see both the definitions of entrepreneurs, one focuses on value to customers, and second is improving the humankind. So when we talk about any idea, when we talk about any business, it should always focus on improvement. It should always focus on creating value for customers. At the same time, the benefit should be towards the society also. Okay, so when we talk about entrepreneurship and idea generation, we need to understand what does idea generation mean. So idea generation basically is a process of creating and developing the idea which could really be concrete or visual. Okay, you're going to actually get your idea into reality. The concept has to come to reality. And to generate an idea, there are various sources of how you can come up with an idea, a business idea. So the first one would be you invent something new, right? So when we talk about a TV or when we talk about the computer, they were invented for the first time, right? Second would be reproduce somebody else's idea with improvement. So when we talk about reproducing someone else's idea, it would be all the electronic gadgets where the base is already ready, but every time we work on developing the technology, making it better and better. Third one would be you have to spot a gap in the market and answer an unfilled need. So here the example could be when we talk about startup companies like Swiggy, Foodpanda, all of them have really identified the gap in the market to come up with their ideas. Like they were already, restaurants which are there, there are customers who are there, but the restaurants could not deliver food to n number of people at the same time, or maybe they had some barriers of delivering for a specific kilometers. So what they did was they identified this and they tried to come up with something new and solve the issues of the customers as well as the restaurants. The next one would be identifying problems. Now this is really very crucial and very important, because the moment if your idea talks of solution of problems, the idea is going to be good, because the moment you solve people's problem, people are going to pay, because you're changing their lives, you're giving them some value addition. So when you talk about certain startups like Uber, Ola, these all have identified certain problems in transportation system. With the help of technology, with the help of internet, they have tried and come up with an app to provide transportation service 24/7 to people, right? So if you understand identifying problems and come up with the idea based on this, the idea would be really good. And obviously the last one would be that you use your own skills and interest. Everybody has certain skills, some hobbies, some interest. You can always think of converting your skills and interest towards an idea. Now It may happen to youngsters, to you people, that many a times you are confused with 2-3 ideas to prepare your business plan. So there is one decision matrix analysis which really helps one to identify which idea they should go forward with. So in case if you want to find out which idea you should go ahead with, there are certain factors, some parameters which you need to consider. The first one would be the investment requirement. It should have at least 20% of weightage. Then ease of operations of that particular idea, it should have 15% or so weightage. How that particular idea, the product, the service could be marketable, that should contribute higher. It should be at least 25% of weightage. Next would be whether it really fits into your interest. That means this idea, is it your interest area? Would you like to continue with the business further with this? That should have 20% of weightage. And the next one should be the product differentiation, that your idea, how different it is from the existing competitors. That should be a 20%. So the weighted average score would come to 100. So based on your 2-3 ideas, the idea which has suited all these 5 parameters and gives you a higher weightage, you should be going ahead with that specific idea. Then next, I would like to talk on opportunity evaluation, which is a 5Q model. So before you actually go and prepare a business plan and start working on it and spend money on your research, this is a basic desk research one should really think of doing. That is to identify the 5Q model. So what is a 5Q model? There are 5 questions which you need to answer before you think of that particular idea. And if you are able to answer all these 5 questions positively, then obviously there is an opportunity for you to go ahead and take up that particular business. So the first one is, what pain of customers are you solving? Why only you can solve the problem? How many customers are there willing to buy from you? How you can defend against others, and how are you going to do it? So when you talk about how pain of customers are you going to solve, you need to identify that the exact problem, that is it really valuable what you're giving to the customers? Really are the customers are into a problem? So whenever there is going to be a problem for customers, they would be willing to pay a price. So now when we talk about electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, the trend today at present is people are aware, people are curious, people are thinking of going ahead. But at present, the mindset is not that everybody would really go ahead and buy those vehicles. So when you launch your idea, when you think of that, you have to understand, you have to change your customers' behavior toward your product and service. So is it really valuable, and whether it is cost effective or not is the first question. Second one is, how are you going to do it? So you just have an idea, it doesn't suffice it. You really need to focus on a business model, right? So what is a business model now? It would really focus on how successfully you would operate your business, identify your sources and revenue. So how you're going to deliver, how you're going to create value. So the sub points which you can see in business model would be, you can talk about your product, your services, description, give a description about your product, okay? How you would do the distribution, what the location would be, what technology you would like to go ahead with, and would you create a brand or not? Now brand would be maybe, it would be a design, a logo, a symbol which you need to think of to identify that you're different from the existing competitors. So you should think initially only from that point of view, how you're going to change your customers' preference towards your product. So how you are going to do it, you have to have a clear picture about it. You're going to focus on how many customers are willing to buy from you. Before you think of preparing a plan, you should at least idea that how many customers are there, what is the market size, and how many will really buy from you. Who will be the first customer? Who would be the 100 customer? You should at least have an idea of. At times people only think about, I would try and promotionally do it with people around me, I would do it with my friends, with my family. That's not it. You should really know, apart from people whom you know, who are the ones who would really be interested in your product or service, what you're offering for. Is on why only you can solve the problem. It means what is the uniqueness of your idea, okay? Why somebody else can't provide this, and what is the advantage over your competitors? So uniqueness is something which you need to define what is there in your own business. And the last question would be how you can defend with others. If you are into a food or service based industry, it would be talking about the quality, talking about the preferences, talking about the brand. You would try to create a patent if you're trying to come up with a prototype. So you have to focus on these 5 questions. And if these 5 questions you are easily able to answer, then there is a point of going forward and working on a foolproof business plan. Okay. So when we talk about problems, right, while selecting your ideas, the one which I said is identifying problems and giving solutions. So what happens is, the bigger is the problem, the solution is going to be good and people are going to opt for your product. So some have found their opportunities. I'm sure you are aware about these companies, these startups. Fast deliveries, FedEx, okay, and when it comes to Ola and Uber, they've combined with technology and travel. Some platform based like eBay, Practo, okay, Book My Show. And when we talk about the market also, we need to understand the culture changes which are happening in the society. So when it comes to old age homes or retirement homes or maybe pet daycares are now the requirement in today's market. You need to identify what exactly opportunities you have in your own area of interest. Now coming next is what is a business plan, right? So business plan basically is a statement or a set of business goals. It is obviously in writing. It's a proposed document which you are preparing with your future plans, how you would do your business, you are going to implement. And the reason why you're preparing this business plan is, number one, for yourself to get a clarity whether it will be feasible for me to go ahead with starting this business or not. And secondly, you are really looking forward for people to invest in your business. So what you are going to do, how you are going to do, you need to convince the third person. And that's what is the need for the business plan, right? So it would help you as a blueprint to identify how you're going to manage your business, what are the financials going to be, okay? At the same time, you would be able to find out the viability. When you prepare a business plan, you know whether it is going to be viable, whether it will be feasible for me to really go ahead and spend money and start this business or not. At the same time, apart from you yourself, even if you don't want funding and you want to start a business, people who are going to work with you in your business, even they need to understand what you want to do. So it would really help the employees, managers to get a proper direction. What is going to be the milestones of business can be identified easily from a business. Always, whatever you target, whatever you plan, it has to be according to it. So a business plan would help you in really measuring the performance against what you have targeted for. And most important, obviously, any startups you take today, none of them really fund their own businesses. Majority of them have got the funds from the investors. So a business plan obviously is prepared so that you can attract lenders, you can get more and more investors. And yes, it should be able to justify that you are in a position in near future to pay back what you have borrowed from them. So a business plan should give a clear view of how you will do, what the sales would be, and whether you would be in a position to pay back to the investors or not. So the investors would look into all these parameters while scrutinizing your business plans. So now let's go to the format of a business plan. So when we talk of format of business plan, I've gone a little detailed with it. Now this format would vary from business to business. It's just a structure. So it would vary from business to business, and few points you may include, few you may add on. So this would be according to what is type of your venture altogether. But yes, if you follow a specific format and a flow and a structure, it would help you to really convince the third party whom you are preparing this for, right? So when we talk about the format of business plan, the first thing is the executive summary, right? So when we talk about the executive summary now, obviously this is not written first. Executive summary in a business plan would be written at the end, because this would give a summary of your entire plan of what your proposed business is, what are the objectives, how you're going to achieve success, and about the funding. So it would be a para or so where you're giving an introduction of what your entire plan is going to be. Now let me tell you, the angel investors, venture capitals investors, all of them are really busy people. So the moment they see a document, what you have elaborated in the executive summary would give them an idea that whether they should really open through and get through with your presentation also or not. So executive summary has to be really very written precisely, and it has to be written at the end. But obviously it would be the first page, which would include about your idea, include information about the owner also who wants to start, some basic information about yourself with your information of the business. So second one would be the company summary. Second one focuses more on what your plan is all about, okay, and what exactly is a vision and mission. See, when you start a business, you never start a business aiming that you would shut down your business within a year or so. So when you plan for, you invest in a business, you always think that you're going to go in the long run. So a vision statement obviously focuses that where you see yourself in the future, okay, and mission would be how you're going to achieve your overall vision. So it may be that the investors would always look into what your vision statement is. So if you're not clear with what you want to do out of this business, it would be really difficult for you to be approachable to any third person. So if you talk about the vision statement of Uber, I think they focus more on that, they want to give an opportunity for people around in the world to move ahead. So that's what they think, that by settling people to move ahead in the world and giving a good, better opportunity for people. And the mission statement, I think they focus more on there's going to give transportation facility for everyone and anyone, anywhere, any places. Okay. So depending on the company, whether your vision is to provide a service, quality service, where you aim yourself in the next 10 years is what you should really think of. And this statement is really important. So what your vision mission is all about. So what your objectives are, why you want to do this business, how you're going to achieve it, that has to be focused in this slide. Okay. And next is your business philosophy. See, it's very important that in your business, you have certain philosophy, certain principles, certain morals, which you should be setting, and you should highlight that to the lenders. So any specific principles which you're going to follow in your business, any culture which you're going to follow, that has to be highlighted over here. Okay. Then you should be focusing more on, what is the location, what facilities you would be providing in that location. Location is very important, okay, because depending on type of business you are, either into a manufacturing or maybe it's a retail shop, in that case also the location is really very important, because it would add on to your scalability of a business. So you should be mentioning that where the location and what are the advantages of it. Next is the industry description. Now industry means, we have various industries: manufacturing, services, automobile sector. So which industry you are into, your business falls into. Okay. So give a brief detail about the industry, about the economy, about the market, about the sales. Now when I'm talking about this data, it doesn't mean that you have to keep writing theory. Wherever possible, you can put graphs, you can put pictures, images. All sources can be mentioned in your business plan over here. So an overall research about your industry should be mentioned over here. Next is your strength and core competencies. Yes, core competencies would focus on skills and technologies. What is the uniqueness of your business against your rivals? Like if I give you an example, the core competency of Apple would be more on, they are always very innovative, the quality is good, and they have a very strong customer service. And if it comes to Uber, I think it would be they are good with technology, they are good with the drivers, they're good with their creative thinking. So this is what they are good at. So what your business is good at, you should be elaborating those points over here, how you are better off than your rivals. That should be focused in core competencies. Next is legal form of ownership. Every investor is willing to know what would be the legal form of ownership, whether it would be a sole proprietor, whether it would be a partnership. A brief detail about it has to be mentioned over here. The next one is the product and services. Now, when it comes to product and services, description of your product, why it's worth purchasing your product, what is the important features, what are the benefits, what is that people should really buy for. So when we talk about the Apple Watch, they would say that the benefit is, if you're using the Apple Watch, you keep your phone aside. Through the phone you can make calls, you can get text, you can streamline your music, everything is being done. These are the benefits of that product. So what is the benefits of your product? You should be able to highlight that. Okay. And USP again comes the unique selling proposition. Okay, so it is the benefits what the company would get against your competitors. I would be dealing with USP in the next slide in detail. And next is customers. You should be knowing that what is your customer base. Okay, like if it comes to Apple Watch, people who want watches and who are fitness freak, obviously the age group would be 35 to 44 is the ones for Apple Watch. When it comes to iPhones, maybe the age would be 25 to 34 of age. So who are your customers? That has to be highlighted over here. Niche area again means that you're specialized in the market, maybe in the small proportion. So you are trying to satisfy customer specific need, quality is your key area in that, or what your uniqueness is, but in a smaller version, in a smaller market, right? And technology. So what technology are you using for your scalability of business has to be highlighted. And what future products and services are you thinking of? See, investors would always be interested to know your future plans also, because they're investing a huge amount. So are you thinking of coming up with another product, or what are the services you would offer in the near future? That has to be elaborated, because this would give a image to the investors that you have planned thoroughly and you know what you are going to also do in the future. Always there has to be plan A and plan B. So in your business plan, you should always be highlighting even plan B, what you would like to do with the existing infra, with the existing business model. Okay. So when I was talking about USP, what is unique selling proposal? It basically is a statement, okay, which every company designs for themselves, that how their product is different than the competitors. So when we talk about USP, if there is no USP in your business, I don't think it would be really very attractive towards the customers that they would really buy from you. So a right USP, uniqueness, would help you in achieving success. You should be able to target your customers, and you should be able to scale up your business through your USP. And you should be listing down, right, that what you are doing and what your competitors are not doing. So if you have a strong USP, if you have a strong selling point, what will happen is you would be able to market your product much more easily. The efforts would really go down because you're unique and you have some plus point over your competitors. So it would really act as a key of success in your business plan. Okay. So to give you some examples of USP, I think when it comes to Fast Track, I think the USP for them is they offer stylish and trendy sunglasses and watches for the youth. So when it comes to Apple, you know that they focus on high quality products with exclusivity. When it comes to Coca-Cola, I'm sure you know that they have so many brands. So for them, the USP is that they have various brands under one single umbrella. And when it comes to BMW, I'm sure you know that, yes, the driving experience, what they preach on. And when it comes to the Leelas, it would really focus on that. They say that yes, you come down there and you know how we deliver. So they talk on what they deliver. And I think the last one, McDonald's, you all will agree to it that the USP, the uniqueness for McDonald's would be the quality of service what they give. It's always clean, and whatever you buy, you know that yeah, it's a value for money. The prices, you don't think that you're paying more than what they are asking for, right? So it's very important that you design something for your own business which would be different from the existing competitors, which would help you in attracting your customers. So USP is very important in the business plan, which the investors would really look on. So moving further, we have the market segmentation now. See, market segmentation now would focus more on customers. You need to divide your potential customers into groups. And groups, how are the groups divided? It would be based on demographic, behavior, geographic. So the age, gender, interest, the lifestyle of people. You have to just highlight those things. You have to divide your markets accordingly. And why we are doing this segmentation, why it is important? So if you segment your market, what will happen is you would be reducing the risk of spending on marketing. That means you are saying that you want to come up, with a coffee shop in a rural area. When you know the people over there are never going to have coffee, they are more keen towards, or their liking or the preferences towards tea. Then setting up the entire coffee shop there doesn't make any sense. So you're not going to spend unnecessarily if you have been segmenting really properly. So it increases your efficiency. You reach your customers with needs and wants. This is the need, this is what you're providing. You can just target those customers directly, right? You can reach those customers in the right manner. So targeting them, and very important is the strategy would also include positioning. That you need to create a reason that why people need to buy your product. Okay. Next over here is market needs. Now, market needs, market trends, market growth. You need to elaborate all these points in your business plan. So when you talk about what needs are you serving of your customers, now this need would be anything related to desire. It may be an emotional need, or maybe it is just a utility, or it may be that they want convenience, they want efficiency, they want to be feel valued. So customers needs to be according to what is your product and how you're going to solve their problems. So maybe a fair price, what you're offering them would be the need of the market at present. So you need to elaborate on this, that what is the need in the market for your product and service. What is a trend? I'm sure you all understand the trend because you all are the youngsters. So trend means it would be like, specific to geographic, or it may be related to an intuition, or it would be a temporary based. Like for an example, in a specific city, you will find everybody over there are dressing up like a specific actor, or maybe they're wearing a specific dressing, a specific style of jeans. You find everybody doing that. So you need to understand that what is the trend of your product and service, which would help you in the long run. So when we talk about the trend at present, it keeps on changing. It's not that easy, but to an extent, you should be able to at least understand that in which scale you are moving forward with. Okay. And what is the market growth? So here you're going to talk about the size of sales, right? So what is the size of your sales? You have to focus on that. Next is the industry analysis. Now here in industry analysis, you should be able to highlight that who are the industry participants. You will find that in your own sector of business, you will find a lot of small participants, and n number of that. You have big brands like Amul, but in every location, in every city, you will find a lot of small participants in the industries which are there. So you need to identify these small participants, big participants who are there in that industry. Okay. And what is the buying patterns? So you need to focus. Your investors are going to understand that what is the buying patterns of the customers at present. So what is the frequency of buying? Okay, what is the quantity people buy? What is the duration, timing? That is also really very important. So when we talk about cars, right, in India, people do buy cars basically on a higher side on specific on festival times. Buying of some jewelry accessories would be on a higher side when it comes to some marriages, right? And when you talk about service related businesses during weekends and all, the sales are on a very higher side. So exactly what is the buying pattern? So when you talk about your product, you should be knowing that you're selling a product which the frequency is in the higher side, the quantity is on the higher side. See, it doesn't mean that the frequency and the quantity has to be high, but if you are selling a product, you should be knowing the duration and timing of how and when customers are going to buy from you. So this would be giving a clarity with the investors also, that your research is quite strong with it. Okay. uh, Main competitors, you should be able to highlight all your competitors in which location you want to start off with. So whether it's specific in Pune, in Kothurud, maybe in Nasik, whichever location, nearby, whom do you think are your main competitors? You should be able to highlight your product, quality, price, features, a comparison. Now here, again, I'll say that you have to prepare a table which would talk about your features and of you and the other 5 competitors. So you should be able to compare with your competitors and elaborate that why you are better off than these, or what you're trying to do something innovative than the existing competitors. You should be able to at least compare with 5 competitors in which area you want to start off with. Distribution channels. I think distribution is basically a process of making a product and services available to the customer. Matlab, it should reach the final buyer, right? So the process, the method which you have to follow is nothing but your distribution channel. Now, a lot of businesses, let me tell you, are successful because of a very strong distribution channel, right? So when it comes to your Big Basket and Flipkart and Amazon, they have a very strong distribution channel, because distribution channel will have a direct effect on the sales volume, cost, and the profit. So your cost also, if it goes high, which is going to affect your profits. So it's very important that how your distribution channel is prepared. What is the flow of it? Here again, you are expected to prepare a flow chart, that how the distribution channel, what would be the duration, what would be the time. So, when your product would reach to the end users, because customers want everything very quick. And right now we have startups which will deliver in no time, very quick. Dunzo app, right? Dunzo app, what does it do is, if you've forgotten something at home, rather than you traveling almost 15 kilometers, you have somebody in that area would just give your product in no time, within an hour or so, right? So what we're expecting right now, customer expect things which are really quick and very fast. So if you are in a product line where distribution channel affects your business, this should be really well prepared with proper planning, and proper techniques should be included in this. That is your distribution channel. STP, I would again, because majority of you need to focus on your customers in your projects also now. So when it comes to STP, it would talk about the market segmentation first. Segmentation. So who are the prospective buyers? Okay, how you are going to target the segment, and how you are going to position your product and service in front of customers is very important. So if I give an example here, I've put 2 examples here. So you all know Federal Express. They position itself as they are reliable and they are dependable overnight delivery. So within no time, they are delivering very quick. And I'm sure you are aware about MTV and VH1. So both of them play the same music videos, right? But MTV is, they focus more on choice of young people, more young viewers. Whereas VH1, they say that we are more for the mature viewers. So you should know what you want to position yourself in the market, right? So I've given some examples here. The segment is what? Individuals looking for stylish PCs and mobile devices, right? And the targeted group would be obviously Apple. So it's going to be high income group, and the age would be 20 to 40 years, right? And positioning again would be, they're focusing more that how they're positioning their product, that it is easy to use. So they're saying that it is really very easy to use. Same thing with Adidas. Now here Adidas, they're saying that we are focusing on, the segment is young people, young men, women, children who are towards fitness and sports. So they're very clear. They're not saying anything apart in sports and fitness. So their segment is people who are more towards fitness and sports. And the groups, targeted group is what? Middle class and upper middle class people. And how they are positioning is, they're saying that we would stand for people who are passionate for sports. This is how they're positioning their own product. And next one is Uber. I think Uber, you all are aware that it would focus more on people moving from one place to another. People who are from business professions are the target group for them. And, they just want to position themselves that we're trying to make the world move and we're providing the service to everybody at a very lower cost. So this is very important in your business plan, right? And before you start a business, it's very important that you understand what is your customer base, how you're going to segment them, how are you going to put your product in front of the customers is very important. If your positioning is not correct, there are chances that you may fail in your business. Like if you talk about Nano, right? Nano, the car was good. It was to be utilized in the city areas, but somehow the moment when they position Nano, they said that it's like for average people and for middle class people and simple car, affordable price. So people in India, very few buy cars for they buy for comfort, but it's more on status symbol. So obviously people who want to buy a car and don't have money still would buy a higher price car rather than buying something which is cheap. So the way they position, the people did not appeal in the right way. So it's very important how you are going to position your product, right? So the next part is your operational plan, right? So we have gone through now, right, from marketing, customers, marketing plan. Now we're talking about the operational plan. So in operational plan, you need to focus more on, how you are going to work, how every individual in your team department will contribute towards the achievement. So it may be like the activities, the quality standards, your SOP process. Okay, so what are the strategies, how you're going to operate? Maybe it may also include contingencies, that if some contingencies happen, how you are going to operate, how you're going to work, because you also have to be ready for that. And in your presentations in front of the investors, you have to elaborate this point as well. Okay, so you have to elaborate that on what is your operational plan. This again can be through of a flow chart. You can elaborate the entire functioning of it. Next is legal environment. I think this is also very important. One needs to elaborate on, because all your registrations of your business, how you are going to register, what are the registrations requirement, what are the approvals, NOCs from the health and safety department, government licensing, what all is required for your business. You highlight that in your legal environment. If this is clear and you know the process, the approval, the tenure, the time required, the fees, it would give a clear picture to the person that you have your thorough study of what you want to do, right? Otherwise, there's a question raised that this takes a lot of time and you're planning to start in 3 months. It will take a year to get the approvals. It shows that you have not really worked on your plans. So it's very important that you really, do a thorough research on what are the legal requirements for your own business. Okay. Inventory, what the inventory process would be, how it would be maintained, the duration, the method which you're going to use, recording, keeping the inventory, what is the cost involved, all that has to be elaborated over here. And the suppliers. See, it's very important that you highlight your suppliers, because when I talk about, products which have a brand in themselves, majority of them, the suppliers are also having a branding. They're good. You should be able to highlight your suppliers, say that yes, you are getting that good quality because your suppliers are the best in the market. What credit policies are you following? That needs to be highlighted. What you are going to offer, what you are going to get, how many days credit policy are you going to formulate on, date wise, you should be able to elaborate that. Okay. So moving next now is your strategy and implementation. When we talk about strategy and implementation, okay, it focuses more on the plan of action. What is strategy? It means plan of action to achieve in the long run. So pyramid, you know, it is like a triangle. You have to work on those pyramids, that what you would like to do from the base stage to the top level in your own. So you have to create your own pyramid. It may be, you know, your directions, what decisions you would take in the initial stage, what is about your financial planning, how would you record all your transactions, how would be maintaining all the records of how you're doing the business. So these may be the steps which you would like to follow. After doing one, you would be doing the next one, then the third one. So what strategy you want to implement, that you have to create. Okay. And value proposition, so it's very important. Value proposition means here now that what is the benefit of your customers. You are selling your product and service, but what is the benefit for them? So every business, unless and until they can explain that what value they're giving to the customers, they are never going to be saleable, right? Like if I have to give you an example, I'm sure you must have been to CCD, you must have been to Starbucks. So obviously there's a difference between when you go to CCD and when you go to Starbucks. So Starbucks say that the value what they give to the customer is the quality of the coffee, is the service, is the ambience. And why they say the quality of the coffee? Because they say that we get the best source of coffee from the world. We are the best person's coffee we are utilizing. They can bang on that. So it's very important that you should be able to implement your strategies in such a way that you would be really delivering a good value to your customers. They should feel happy in paying that price. The moment your customers start feeling that, you know, they are not getting the best for the value they are paying, that's the time when you are going to lose on your customers easily, right? And when it comes to Uber, right? Uber also, you would say that what is the value proposition? They say we are quick, we are fast, with the tap of fingers, you know, within 5 minutes the cab is here. But the price is also very affordable, and that's true. So at times you also get cashless rides. So if you're riding Uber for a very long time, and you know, you see at times you really pay less fare. This is the value addition which is there. You have to focus on what value addition are you going to give to your customers. Next is the competitive edge. Competitive edge now again here would be that what is the advantage over your competitors? Maybe it would be the value, it may be the prices. Maybe you have a better skilled laborers. Maybe your location is better than your competitor. So you are in the right center of the city. Or maybe your technology is more better, right? So what exactly you are better at than your competitor is what you need to highlight over here. So if I take an example of Uber and Ola, I think at present Uber has more drivers attracted towards them rather than Ola. So it's on a higher side. So how you are better than your competitors, you have to highlight them. Next is your marketing strategy. Now, marketing strategy means how are you going to sell your product, right? So there are a lot of methods of selling, what modes you're going to use. Either it is direct selling through media, to internet, maybe pay media advertisement, or you can follow the traditional method of word of mouth in the initial phase. Okay. So what exactly you are going to do, that you have to highlight in your marketing strategy. When I talk about pricing strategy, you know, there are a lot of ways of deciding your prices, and your investors are going to keep their eyes and ears open to see, you know, that what are you talking about pricing. Because you cannot just say that, you know, I'm charging less than my competitor. When you're saying you're charging less, you have to explain as to why. So which strategy you are going to implement? It can be a cost plus strategy, where you add your cost and add a markup price to it. Okay. It can be a competitive one, where you're trying to charge as per what is the charges in the market. Okay. Or you think that the product value of is on a higher side, so maybe you say a value strategy. It can be a skimming. I'm sure you heard this word. Skimming means what? Here you're trying to charge on a very higher side. Why you're doing this? Because somewhere you know that yes, your quality and uniqueness is outstanding and people cannot do without your product, and they are going to pay for it. Like I think most of the electronic products are having the skimming strategy. So Apple iPhone the higher side when it comes to their prices. Or it can be penetration pricing. Penetration means what you want to get into the market. So you might think that you can give low price initially to your customers, okay, and this would help them for getting attracted. So you can decide what pricing are you going to set up with, but you have to elaborate every strategy of yours, that why you are doing this and how this would help you in attracting your customer or increase your sales. And the mode of marketing also can be offline, the way you're promoting your business through radio or maybe through printing, advertising, telemarketing. Old methods also can be used, or you can even think of sponsorships, and you can think of forecasting on different platforms also. So how you're going to promote, you need to highlight that. Talking about an example of deciding prices, I think there's a very good example of edible cutlery. I don't know whether you're aware of this product, but now edible cutlery, this is a person from Mr. Narayan from Hyderabad. He has come up with cutlery, spoons and forks, which are made of rice, wheat, okay, and all spices and everything is added. Actually, you can. It's so hard. Those spoons are that after the usage, you can eat it or you can even throw it. But they come to ban plastic. Think for the society, they have come up with the spoons. So there's an innovation, but it's a social cause. But if you look at the pricing strategy which he's gone for, he's focusing with low prices. He's not focusing on higher prices because he knows that the mindset of people to use his cutlery is on a lower side. So if he wants to penetrate, he has to go with a lower price. Maybe his revenues are on the lower side at present, but he's working on getting sponsorships, tying up with NGOs to get funding. So that if his price is 10 rupees now, if he gets funding, he may go more lower. He may go even 5 or 4 rupees per spoon. So you have to understand what strategy you want to implement. So he is going for a low price strategy so that people are aware, people are more towards using that particular product. Okay. Next is your distribution pattern, right? So you should focus on how you are going to distribute, what are the strategies going to be for the distribution pattern has to be highlighted. And the next one is sales forecast. Sales forecast would be in comparison to the industry, in comparison to the trends, economic trends, and you should be highlighting your sales programs. Sales programs, if there's a launch of a car, right? If a specific company launches a car, I'm sure the dealers, what do is they conduct a dealer meet. They would invite all the bankers and the financiers, because at the end, they want to create a platform to create their business. So it may be a sales meet, a meet program, how they are going to train their employees to increase the sales also needs to be focused on. So what are the sales programs you want to implement in your business so that it would increase your sales is what has to be added under your sales program. Strategic alliances. Now, alliances means partnership. See, it's very important that you have partnered with well-known people in the market. If it's that, so it would help you to, scale up your business much more easier. So if I given an example of strategic alliance, I think Uber has a strategic alliance or partnership with Spotify. So Spotify again is into listening to music and playlists. The moment you get into the car, you can listen to the music and be part of it. Enjoy that moment, enjoy that time. So if you are thinking of a strategic alliances which would add on to your product features, you should always think of clubbing with somebody who can give that benefit to your business. Okay, so that is your strategic alliance which you should be highlighting. It would be a plus point in your business. Next is the milestones, right? So milestones now would be a graph which you should prepare, which talks about what and when you want to achieve in your business. So a streamline that you want to achieve your sales in the 1 year. In next year you want to elaborate into different cities, you want to open up with branches. So whatever you want to achieve step by step is nothing but a milestone, and the investors would really wanting to know what you have planned and how you are going to move towards this planning. So just telling what you want to achieve is not important. How you would be doing also has to be highlighted in your milestones. So the timeline, when and how you are going to achieve, has to be highlighted. Okay. Next is your web plan summary. See, nowadays, every businesses, whether it's a small business, a retail business, everybody has gone online, everybody has their own websites. So it's very important that you have designed your own website, right? So you should have a good website design, and you can always have the developments, what the website looks at, what is the social media willing to. You can have paid up ads, or you can use the search engine optimization, or maybe the content writing, social media. All these things you can include in your website. And developments would include, validations. Whatever customers' validations are, what their expectations are, according to that, you should be updating with your websites. Okay, so that's a web plan which is very important and need of today's market. And next is your management summary. So this is also very crucial. See, as I said, the business plan headings would differ from individual business to business. For certain business plans, certain points would be very crucial for the business to be scalable. Some points will not be, some would be, right? So you need to understand what is to be included in your business plan, what is not important, you need not add those things. But when it comes to the management summary now, organization structure, what is the structure, how many people are going to work, what is their profiles, what are their skills, what are their competencies, are really very important. So if you're into a service industry, okay, the performances of your employees only would help you in achieving success, right? So if you're having a huge cafe, or you're thinking of developing a huge restaurant, or you want even thinking of a manufacturing company, so your employees, your engineers also play a very major role, because without them you will not be able to achieve the targets. So what is the structure, what is the team, what are their skill set, you need to highlight, and the entire manpower you would require in your business has to be highlighted. And you have to really hold of good professionals in your businesses, so that you would be able to achieve your objective in no time. Okay. The next is your startup expenses and capitalization. This is very important. I think most of the students fear with this part. They're scared with coming out or compiling with this. But let me tell you, whatever we discussed in last last whatever minutes are over, but every point is linked with your startup expenses and finances. Wherever you're spending, how you're spending, any promotional activity you're talking about, everything is going to be linked with your finances, right? So when it comes to your startup expenses, there are a lot of startup expenses, like before launching, maybe the legal work, the paperwork, you require funds for that. You're designing a logo, you require funds, maybe the brochures, okay, you're buying certain equipments. So all in the initial phase, you have to elaborate what are your startup expenses and capitalization. And the last one and the final one in the business plan is your financial plan, right? So in business plan, you have to make all the important assumptions. What are these important assumptions? All projections, right? It's all projections. Nothing is factual. I hope you all understand that in business plan, what we're talking, these all are projections, some data, some research. Based on that, you're projecting certain things. So projections of your income, projections of your expenses, right? The inventory, receivables, all important assumptions have to be made in financials. Then only you would be able to prepare the income statement, balance sheet, whether you're making a profit or not. So all based on these assumptions, based on the sales you're going to make, you would be able to prepare all these financial statements. You should have important assumptions. Then you should prepare a break-even analysis. I'll come to break-even in the next slide. Projected profit and loss account, cash flow, balance sheet, ratios again. So based on cash flow and balance sheet statement, you should be able to prepare ratios which give a clear picture that how you are going to achieve your profit, what is going to be the percentage of profit, and the inventory management. Okay. And you should at least be able to prepare 3 to 5 years. In finance, 3 to 5 years is what the assumptions have to be made. So you have to, if you're preparing a actual business plan and it's just not a project, it would be for 3 months, 6 months, what the projections are. But when it is a business plan, full business plan, you at least have to prepare to 3 to 5 years of projections for all the financial statements. So you have to prepare all this at least 3 to 5 years, and the long-term plan. So what we would do in the long term also has to be highlighted and elaborated in your financial plans, right? So I would just go with the term break-even analysis. I think when I took the session on the first day, we did discuss profit and loss account and balance sheet, right? So now I would be talking on break-even analysis. So now break-even point means at this point, at this level, your sales are exactly equal to the cost. And we had discussed earlier also, the cost is segregated into two types, fixed cost and the variable cost. Fixed cost means it remains the same even if your production increases or decreases, like rent, salary, all that is your fixed cost. And variable would change as per production. If there's increase, obviously the cost would increase. If there's a decrease, it would decrease. Okay. And this point, you will never say that you are suffering a loss. Why? Because at this point you have actually recovered what you have invested. Okay. So a break-even point is a stage at which the total cost and total sales are equal, and you generate zero profit. So there is no profit at all. And from that point onwards, you start becoming profitable. It's not that immediately you make a profit. After break-even, it is called margin of safety. That means you are earning some revenue. That's a safety money which you have now. And then slowly and gradually you start making profit. So if you see this, one example I've mentioned, sales, what is the assumption? This is again an assumption, right? So what is the sales minus the variable cost gives you contribution. Contribution means, suppose sales is 100 and variable is 60. So 40 is your contribution. That means at this point of contribution, you know that whether you will be able to pay your fixed expenses or not. So if contribution is 40 and fixed cost is 10, right? So 40 minus 10 is going to give you 30. So actually 30 is nothing but you have made a profit, right? So in this way, you should be able to calculate that whether you are in a position to make a profit or a loss, right? And there is an example which I've elaborated on break-even analysis. So suppose there are two companies, companies A and company B, right? The first company's selling price per unit is 100. The second one is 90. The variable cost is 40 and 30. So the contribution means 100 minus 40 gives me 60 and 90 minus 30 gives me 60. So now how you would calculate BEP? 30,000 is your fixed cost. Always remember, fixed cost is an amount. It would not be into per units. The reason being is, suppose I'm manufacturing pens, right? So I know that to manufacture that pen per unit, if I manufacture 100 pens, the per unit would be 10 rupees, right? But if I've spent 10,000 on the rent to manufacture that pen, the fixed cost would remain the same. So you will never have per unit cost for fixed cost. That's the reason it is in amounts. So fixed cost is 30 and here it is 50. So contribution is 60-60, right? So as what I said in BEP, BEP is a point where you have recovered your fixed cost and you have recovered your variable cost. And the formula is your fixed cost divided by contribution. So fixed cost is how much? 30,000. Okay. So 30 divided by 60 gives me 500. And 50,000 divided by 60 gives me 833. Okay. So here I can see the BEP for both the company. For A is 500 and B is 833. That means for company A, when they will sell 5,000 units, they will be reaching to BEP. That means they would receive whatever they have invested. And for B company, when they would sell 8,333 units, they would reach to their break even. Okay, so a break even point would tell me that point where I've recovered my expenses and now further I'm going to make my profits. So your investors would be really interested in knowing when you are going to recover your BP. So in your financials, along with financial statement of balance sheet and income statement, calculation of BP is very important, because everybody wants to know in how much time are you going to recover your break even point. Okay. Next term is return on investment. I think this is very common. You all are aware about returns, because the moment you talk about returns, everybody knows if I'm investing something, there has to be a return on that investment. Okay. So now obviously there's a formula for this, that a return would be the investment is divided by the cost of investment. Okay. So an example I've mentioned here, that suppose Anuj invested 1,000 in a company in 2017, and later on after 2 years he has sold the shares of the company of worth rupees 1,200. So to calculate his return on investment, what he would do is 1,200 minus 1,000, it gives 200. So to know the exact percentage, what he would do is 200 divided by 1,000. That means your profit divided by the amount which you have invested in your business. So it comes up to 20%. So the return on investment is 20%. So your investors would be willing to know, okay, what is the return on investments you're going to get. Trust me, in India rather, I don't know about the quality, how much we offer to the customers are really good or not, but nobody runs a business where the returns are on a very lower side. If you buy any product in the market, I'm sure you know what price you're paying is on a very higher side for it, right? So every business has a good return on what product and services they're selling to the customers. So you should be able to calculate what is the percentage on return on investment. Okay. So with this, we have done with the format of business plan. Again, I would like to mention that there are a lot of parameters in business plan, right? To prepare a business plan in depth, in thorough, would take quite some time, with good amount of research, with good amount of assumptions, which you have to consider. And few points you can add on to this, or few things which are not relevant to your businesses can also be excluded. But the structure or the points should be highlighted in such forms so that the investors are convinced with whether they would really like to be part of your venture or not. Now I'm coming to some success startup stories, just to give you an idea of, all the startups are not self-funded. That means all of them have prepared their business plans, they have convinced the investors, and they have taken a huge amount of money from all of them, and now they are successful. So it's not that difficult if you have a good idea, innovative idea, to get money from people who are interested in your business, right? The first one which I have put forward is Uber. I think Uber, you all are aware of, they have huge investors. And when it comes to their value proposition, I said everybody needs to give a value to the customers, right? So when it comes to value proposition, it focuses on low fare, minimum waiting time, free rides, and track of vehicles. Yes, they're doing that. And when you see their features, every time they have been kept on adding on features in that app itself, making it more simpler, more convenient. And they are focusing on how they can reduce down with their prices. And value proposition not only for customers, they also have for drivers. See, when you look at Uber's model, the reason why they are successful is because, again, drivers are not their employees, right? Because if they were the employees, the cost would have gone high. They are the partners. And the way they treat their drivers, they have an additional source of income. They give them a flexi working hours. There's online payments which are there for them. So the model is much comparatively more feasible and scalable, right? And startups which don't have geographical boundaries, like they're available across the globe, they have more market, and they have more growth towards what they want to do in their milestones. So it's very important that the moment you think of limitations of your business, that it would be only feasible in this location, that location, technically or technology is not used in your ideas, then what happens? There are a lot of hindrances which comes in your business ideas. So it's very important that when you think of an idea, it should be within a period of time, reaching to people across the globe. It should not be only limited in a specific zone itself. Okay, so Uber's business model is one, and you can see that they have taken all the investments from good investors. The amount is on a very higher side. Next is your ID Fresh. I'm sure you all like eating idli dosa, right? And just give a thought. So when we talk about idli dosa batter, the way we prepare the batter either is at home or at times you buy it from the local places. So when this person 2005 PC Mustafa started it off, right? He just realized that the batter which is available is not having any name, any label, any packaging is not there. Maybe the hygiene factor is also not on a very higher side. So that's how it strikes his mind that, so he's not doing something new, but what he did was he used a proper way of promoting this particular business. He came up with good packaging, he came up with good strategies, sealing, hygiene, the quality is better off. And today, if you see that it is almost 100 crore over turnover company. So not only in India, but outside India also, they are selling what? The batter of idli, right? And this person, Mustafa, he is an IIM pass out student. So if you look at the money, so if he had his money, the answer is no. He has taken funds, almost 35 crores, 3 crores from venture VCs, right? So the value proposition, what they are providing is the quality is high. So if you go and buy idli batter, you may find it for 40, 50 rupees. But for him, he's selling at 75. But when you're buying that 75 price, the quality is there. There is a reselling pack which is there. It's a brand altogether at the end. So it's natural, it's fresh, right? And it's good as compared to the local competitors. So this is one startup story. So he comes from a very normal background, family background, but what he worked on was technology. He worked on the supply chain, because imagine delivering the idli batter in all parts of the country is not an easy joke, right? So with his technological knowledge, he would be able to devise a system, a software through which it helped him to reaching this stage at what he is right now. So the idea is basic, simple. What he's done is just an innovation to what is required to. Okay, so this is one ID Fresh. Okay, next one is Torque Motors. Torque Motors basically started in 2009 by Kapil. So he has come up with electrical motorcycles. So he has already come up with almost 5 motorcycles as of now. Started in Pune, right? This guy has not funded any of his projects. His projects are funded by Bharat Forge, by CEO of Ola. Ratan Tata has come forward to fund him. And you all are aware about FAME, right? So FAME has funded, we have given them subsidy, because you know that through FAME, all electrical vehicles get funding. And the idea is all about, he's come up with electric motorcycle, and you can see that the speed is almost 100 kilometers per hour. The range is there. And he says that his battery charging is 80% within an hour. Okay. And while full charge takes almost 2 hours. So the time required is on a very lower side. He's come up with almost 2 charging stations in Pune, right? So successfully he has designed, he has built the validation and manufacturing of the battery and motors at scale. So they had successfully done this. So you can see that no funding, but the idea is what has been helped him in achieving all the funds. So USP of his business is what? That he focused on made in India, electric two-wheeler startup brand, and he focuses more on not only the designing and the motorcycle, but he's also worked on in-house operating system for that machine, right? And he knows who his competitors are. So somewhere his price ranges differ. His competitor Ather Energy has comparatively selling at a slight lower price than what he is selling, but he focuses more on his design. So as you can see, I've just tried putting some images over here. So I think the last one he's going to launch in 2020. He was supposed to launch this bike, and he's launched almost 5 bikes. So he's into motor racing also. He's launched at various racing centers. And the last one, which you can see, the white one, the third one, he's supposed to launch in 2020. So if you look at you know, the electric vehicles, and when you talk about the motorcycles, so you will find that he is not only focusing on the designing, but he's also scaling up with the production. He's achieved a lot of funding. So his idea, his thought process, his planning, everything has been up to mark, right? The next one, which I would like to discuss with you, is Happy Roots, right? Now, again, Happy Roots is founded by Rima Sethe. Again, it is being funded by angel investors. Then the Paytm founder, Vishal Shekhar Sharma, has funded into this. Now, what do Happy Roots do? What they do is they are preparing diet biscuits and food, some chips and all that, but it's all diet based, and it is baked goodies. It's nothing is fried or anything that sort. But what is different about it, you'll find a lot of local participants in this business because everybody is diet conscious now. But what is different in her business, she has directly working with 15,000 farmers. Okay. And all the farmers who are working, there are ladies who are there working, they only are producing, and she is just helping them to promote and scale up that particular business. She shares all her profits with them. So it's also a social cause which is attached to it. So she's been awarded as influential woman by the president, and she has received a lot of awards, and it's a good company which has a good turnover in crores. And the USP of their business is what? That the nutrition is on a very higher side. See, because people in village, they consume a lot of grains on their day-to-day business, but people like us, we fail to do that. She's trying to promote that in the market. So this is one successful story which is there, again funded by a lot of people. Innovation, social cause, both hand in hand has helped her in achieving the funding. So this is one. And the next one is, I think, early salary app. Okay, I don't know whether you have heard about this early salary app. It is by Mr. Akash, and what do they do is they've created an app for giving loans to people. Okay, and this is available 25 by 7, 24 by 7. Almost 1900 crores of money is being dispersed. Okay, the EMI is easy. They have more than 4 lakhs of customers, and they're doing pretty well. Because see, today's youngsters have a strong spending pattern. So even if they're earning a lot of money, at the end of all, lot of money. So in that case, if you just, and you know your salary is coming within a week's time, so if you have some emergency, you better, rather than going to a bank and the legal process, within your bank you borrow this money, you have easy schemes to pay it back. So for this early salary app, I think in Pune startup 2016, they had pitched in Pitch Perfect in the Pune Incubation Center. I think they had won the prize also in 2016, and now it's 20.
Hello? Madam, your voice is not audible. Okay, so I guess there is some issue at the expert side.
Few guidelines for business plan preparation. Let me tell you that there is no specific content that these things like has to be point wise, and but this is a structure which has been available, which majority of people do follow. As I said earlier also, few things you can add, few things you can, you know, exclude also. But you know, the way we have a format of balance sheet that you have to follow this, that same way we don't like have like the format. Yes, there are guidelines that how a business plan should prepare, and you know, what points should be included. So there are a lot of guidelines made by entrepreneurs, researchers and all, and angel investors also. They do at times give a format also. So if you go to a bank to take the funding, they would give you a format of how you're going to present your business plan. So depending on whom you are going to, they would ask you to prepare the format accordingly. But the basic guidelines, what we have discussed, would be the same. So few guidelines would be that always see to it that the first page of your business plan, which talks about your idea, about yourself, it should be precise so that people go forward and then get into detail of your business plan. And if there is certain information which is negative about your industry or something that sort, you should highlight those things, because it would give, see, not putting negative things, and if the investors are aware that this industry is not doing well, and how are you presenting. So it's important that you put in all the data which is realistic. This shows that you are also prepared for any barriers which would occur in your business. And you should always have a competitive edge of how you would provide a better service than your competitors. Just don't say you will do it, but how you're going to do it has to be elaborated. Okay. And you should also be able to make a list of your customers, geographically, demographically, that these are your customers. A detail about a number with the details has to be mentioned, right? And that again can be in the form of a table which gives a detail about your customers. So wherever possible, put a lot of graphs, put a lot of sources, data, and from where you have taken this information, you see to it you mention that in your business plans, right? And you should never say that you don't have competition, right? Because it is not possible. That lenders will not believe you, because even if I say computers were invented for the first time, but typewriters and calculators and all were a product which people used to use against computers initially also. So you should say that what are the possible products, if not competitors, and which are the possible products which people use against your products. That should be mentioned. You should be clear with what is the best and the worst case of sales. If sales go down, what should be your strategy? You should be elaborating on those points. Also focus on, especially for you people, when it comes to your projects, it should not only be the design which you all are presenting, you should also be able to elaborate how your business is scalable, so that people are giving you money, they know that their money is also getting back to them. Okay. So avoid a lot of graphs, tables wherever possible. Don't put in a lot of theory, right? Now this is basic guideline for your project. You should prepare your design well. It should talk about the efficiency. It should focus more on how it is viable and usable. Give good specification of your project product. And USP, it should be, you can add on some features with your product. That should be considered. And prepare your good cash flow statement for 3 to 6 months, whatever duration you're preparing your projects on. Calculate all your expenses. Your project should look cost effectively. Elaborate more on how you will raise money, how you will spend. You should know that where your customers are, what is the demand. Maybe you're selling your cycles at malls, townships, societies, hospitals. Whoever your customers are, you should be able to elaborate them. So elaborate them well, elaborate your customers well. And you can always think of some USP, some add-on features with your existing product. Like for Torque Motors, they had designs, they could charge their cell phones. So a lot of features were being added to the product. So with your existing product, if some additional benefit can be given, that also can be a point of USP for you. And lastly, I would say that you should agree that basically people are lazy. We are rather busy, lazy. We want some pleasure, we want comfort, and any product or service that gives this, I'm sure you will have potentials in your business needs. That's the end from my side.
So thank you, madam, for such a nice session today. Before we go to the Q&A, I'm going to ask Mr. Jitendra Singh Gaur to please add to what madam has just finished delivering. Some more points from his side is something that we want to discuss. So shall I unmute you, sir?
Yeah, good morning, sir. I have unmuted. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, so with the presentation of Madam, I think everybody has understood what basically a business plan is, and what should be the format, what things we should include for sure in making an effective business plan. So all details have been very well discussed about a proper business plan, and I would like to rather speak regarding to the business plan or sales presentation type of events which are included in all SAE events in India, whether it is FE Cycle or Supra or Baha. So I would like to add a few points related to the event, these SAE events related points, how the business plans should be made. So basically, what we saw today in the presentation is fundamentals are same. On the basis of that only, the business plan or sales presentation kind of events are designed. So people may ask why a business plan related thing is included in so much technical event. So that the answer is because you are engineer, and tomorrow all of us are going to serve into the industry, or maybe many of us may are going to initiate a startup. So these kind of event will have uh, like a basic training to all of us, like how we should start a business, what basic thing we need to take care of while starting a business or a startup. So that's why there is a need felt that we should include a business plan kind of static event in all SAE competitions. So this is the basic idea. But there are a few things which I want to mention here. What common mistake people make into this competition or while preparing a business plan presentation. Um, like we provide some format. All events have their own format of such kind of event of business plan related thing. So these are somehow modified according to the event scenario. Like as we listen, madam, she was explaining about executive summary and all. So these are not included in the event related business plan because somehow these are not that much necessary or are not relevant at that point of time. But anyways, these will be required later on. So the common mistake which people make here is, first of all, they do not understand the importance of USP. USP is very important thing. While you are presenting your business presentation to the judges are thought like a hypothetical investor. So you should understand yourself as a startup person. You are going to initiate it, and you want people to invest money into your business. So the judges are hypothetical investors. So you must tell them what is the USP of your product. So whatever unique selling proposition you have, whatever uniqueness is there in your product, you should highlight it. And as madam said, some additional features which will be relevant to your customers and which are unique, that can be added on. So USP is very important while you are delivering your business presentation, and the right word selection or statements is very much important. So that will attract the judges, and it will help us in getting good marks. So some people only tell that this is the uh, design, our vehicle is lightweight, our vehicle is very high speed. So we need to understand this, that this is not a design presentation. We are not going to present the design to a design judge. Design evaluation is separate, and in this business presentation we have to tell only the parameters or only the features which are relevant to the problem solving of the general customers, to the customers which you are targeting in different demographic regions or different age groups or like that. So as per our case, we are working in the automotive sector. So as far as FE cycle or Baha or Supra vehicles are concerned, these all are automobiles. So how an automobile can serve to the customers. So customer may be for Baha people, the customers may be the fun-loving people who goes to a weekend trip to some destination. For FE cycle, it may be like audience may be a group which is more concerned about the last mile connectivity or day-to-day short distance transit in cities or urban areas. So accordingly, we have to plan our USP. We have to well define our USP in a proper statement, so that this statement gives us an impression that okay, what this is the uniqueness in your vehicle or your product, which is not present into the other market or product which are already available. So we have like so many vehicles in the market as of now. There are at least 20-30 car manufacturers and two-wheeler manufacturers and commercial vehicle manufacturers. So what will be the unique thing which you feel in your FE cycle or any other vehicle? Presenting that is very, very important. So do not mix it with a design presentation. Do not show only the design parameters, that it is very least weight, it is very ergonomic or that kind of thing. These are all available there. So some unique thing which you need to consider there. And the other point is while delivering a presentation or before that even, while you are in your campus, you are preparing a business plan. So my advice will be to have a market survey to generate some data that we have discussed with so many customers, or like you can consider your colleagues, your classmates, or your faculties, or maybe your relatives as a customer, and then ask them like, I am making this kind of product. What unique thing you would like to see in it, or how you would like to utilize it? What problem you are facing in other vehicles which you are using, and how we can overcome if we implement that thing in our vehicle. So you can make some market survey kind of format with 4-5 basic questions, and then have at least 20, 30, or 50 samples. So that will give you idea like this is the demand of customers, and in this way we have we can mold our business plan. So this will help you to impress the judges that we have conducted market survey, and then according to the needs we have categorized some features and we are going to implement it. So this may be helpful, so that people who are judging you will know that you have done some background work, and you are not initiating any business without having any idea. So the uh, entire objective of including a business plan kind of event in the competition, that will help us to make you understand when you after 2-3 years or couple of years, or maybe later on when you are going to start up initiate a startup, so that knowledge or that experience will help you there. So this is all I wanted to speak. So now I hand over to Professor Mane.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your inputs. Now, as I discussed earlier, we have Dr. P.R. Damangaonkar, sir, from College of Engineering, Pune, who is also joining in. So I request Dr. Damangaonkar, sir, to please share his views, and he wanted to add a couple of points to this particular session. So, sir, right now I'm trying to unmute you. I don't know.
Yes, now it is unmute.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to add few points. Madam, it was really a nice presentation. And as a faculty advisor of FE cycle, I will say that now the competition has really gone into a very tough competition is now there, because the inputs are really worthy. Few points, important points, they were added by Jitendra sir. So I will skip those points from my presentation, because 2 points I have written there, and I will skip those points. First point is that particularly where Madam said that your concept should be viable or validity. So in my opinion, there are 3 different viabilities or validities to be checked. First is the conceptual validity. So when I come to get certain product to be manufactured, depending on the need analysis, that is need generation or need encashment, but the product that I am going to propose, it should be a fundamentally viable. That is, let us say example of if I am suggesting an engine giving certain efficiency, then definitely as an engineer, I know that there is a certain maximum efficiency that can be attained. And we have to validate that my engine is not giving the efficiency higher than the ideal engine. So this is a sort of conceptual viability. And it should be proven. It should be proven. In some cases, it is observed that we come up with some proposition and it is not viable. The second viability is the manufacturability. That whatever I am preparing and proposing to be manufactured, it should be easily manufacturable using the facilities, machines, method, know-how that is available with me. So if it is not manufacturable, then it is no point in suggesting that particular item. The third and very important viability condition is the commercial viability. That is, it should be a sellable product. And this we should check before going into a business plan. Next point is, Madam suggested that there should be a particular organizational structure or sort of a structure of the business. For students, I will say that in your business plan, you should also mention that whether you are going with a sole proprietorship or you are going with partnership or you are going with private limited, etc. So that it will not only give you the picture, but it will also give the indication to the evaluators that you know certain fundamental things and you are really going into that business. The third is, at least Gaur sir has added certain points to that. I will say that in your business plan, you should also mention what market share you expect. This market share, I do not mean to a stock market, but I mean to say that what is that quantum of business you want to share with your competitors. Let us take an example of a two-wheeler. If I am going with a two-wheeler, then there are n number of competitors in the market. If I say 100% as a market, then there can be a 10% market enjoyed by Honda, 10% market enjoyed by Bajaj, 10% market by some XYZ product or organization. Then in that market, what is my market share or what market share I wish to have. So that thought, if it is given in my business plan, definitely this business plan will give a good indication to the evaluators. Madam has also suggested to develop a proper vendor base. I would like to add what vendor quality as a business plan I am going to propose and what after sales services I am going to propose. For that, whether I am going to propose some vendor quality development plan, what sort of service engineer training I am going to propose. And lastly, as an expansion plan, whether I am proposing any diversification or whether I am going to propose any market mix. That is some addition to my business. That is some diversification from my business. See, nowadays, the need is fastly changing. Let us take today's example. Everybody must have observed that as soon as due to some or the other reason or unforeseen reasons, there was an outbreak of corona. What has given this outbreak of corona? You will notice that even yesterday's notification by UGC, it is also trying to launch and check whether the online examination pattern can be implemented all over the country. UGC is also trying to check whether the online teaching learning process is successful and it can be implemented all over the country. With this, you must have also seen that in your mailbox, there probably had been n number of mails indicating that we provide a good online teaching learning platform. So it is nothing but encashing the need, encashing the need. Due to some or the other reason, the need has generated. Then as a businessman, I should have that ability to encash that need, or otherwise I should have the ability to generate the need. See, if we take into account and put our business plan in such a manner that it does not seem to be very hypothetical, it should be realistic. It should be realistic with no such type of exaggerated figures to be given, no exaggerated commitment should be given, but it should be really a feasible, viable business model to be presented. That's all from my end. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And madam, it was really a good presentation. I request Mane sir to share the presentation to all faculty advisors. It will help the faculty advisors to guide their teams to make the business plan. Thank you very much. Wish you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. As far as presentations are concerned, I'm still waiting for experts to share it. But video recordings I am uploading on YouTube as and when I'm getting time and data. So I believe we are now open for question and answer session. And first person to raise his hand is again Lavish. So I'm going to unmute you, Lavish, and you can ask your question. So please go ahead.
Good morning, ma'am. My question is that is it okay for someone to start a business basically for a fresher with a almost new idea, and as I told the fresher, then he seems to lack in the backup plan as well. So is it okay to start right now, or he has to wait for, or he has to earn some experience from corporate or industry side?
Yes, I would take up that question. See, basically, when it comes to whether you should go ahead with your idea or not, you have, rather than seeing that whether he's a fresher or not, whether he has enough, knowledge about your business idea is important. And obviously, at times, experience add on to the success. But at the same time, whether your idea is feasible, whether it's viable or not, do you have good amount of research, and you can really go ahead with it. So this data has to be factual. You just can't go completely on assumptions. Whatever I have delivered in last 1 year, I've seen for students that a lot of students feel that based on assumptions things can work out, but doing a research is very important. So if you feel that you have good amount of information, you have done a good research, and the project is viable, then you should go ahead with your plan. Otherwise, if you think that there is any second thought, then you should go ahead with some experience and with more knowledge, and then only you can think of going ahead with it. Because when you invest in business, you are spending your time, you are spending your money, energy, so you should be ready enough to get into it. So without the confidence, you should not be going ahead with it. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I presented the idea in a competition of inter-college BPAN preaching. So in that I stood in among the top 3. So that's why I am eager to request that whether I am ready or not. But as I told you that I don't have any backup plan. So if for the worst case scenario, so
Okay, so
this
I'll
is
tell you one thing. See, winning a prize in competition is obviously a motivation. That means your idea is good enough, right?
yes.
But the idea being good enough is not important. You have to have a backup plan. As I said, plan B. If this doesn't work, what else? It depends on how much money you have invested, how much time. What is the plan of action if you don't are not successful? So whether to go ahead or not, it is completely dependent on the individual, right? You have to decide, are you able? I would say now, yes, go ahead, take up the idea and go ahead. But at the end, if you are not confident of going ahead, it would not make sense, right? So decision of not going ahead or not, it should be yours. You can take suggestion from people to know whether this idea is feasible or not. So I can suggest you ki yes, the idea is feasible, you can go ahead, there are chances that it may be successful, looking at the scenario and look at the idea and the innovation. but whether to go ahead or not, it should be your choice, and you should feel confident about it. As well as it, you should be ready with your backup plans also. It's very important that you're ready with your backup plan. Or as of now, you can just hold on unless and until you yourself are confident. Maybe you can do some more research. Unless and until you're confident, you should not go ahead.
Thank you, madam. So next is Mr. Yashwant Veluri.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is like, what happens if we have started our business? Like, is it necessary to mention that in the business plan we have started our business, and due to some unexpected reasons like coronavirus outbreak, we had failed in it? And is it required to mention how we will be coming up from these bad situations also?
See, I'll tell you one thing. Business plan is not only always prepared for future approach. It can be of an ongoing business also, right? Because you are
Yes, ma'am.
preparing a plan because you want funding from investors. So in case if you have already started and the registrations and everything is done, and now you're putting it forward in front of investors, and whatever the scenario, I had mentioned a point. In case if the market is not good and it is hampered, and you are not doing well that time, but now you know that what is your strategy and plan of action. So there is no harm in highlighting that this was the scenario, because if it is related to corona or some economic breakdown, all the businesses have failed this and face the same issue. So if it's an ongoing business, you should also mention that it is an ongoing business. It should add on, it would not give you a negative impact. But you should be ready with the situations to be handled as to why you had been failed earlier. Okay.
Thank you, madam. There is one more question from the chat section. So I guess some audio issues with the participant. So he's asking if at all somebody starts his or her own business, and then later on there is going to be a time that some new competitor is going to enter. Then he might have some different strategies which might lead to your own failure or let us say downturn in the business. So apart from quality, what other things should be taken care for such competitions?
Yes. See, when we talk about business is never going to be streamlined, right? If you want to grow, you want to scale your business amongst the competitors, then you also have to keep on innovating. You have to understand what the customers need. So in case if if you've given one product and your competitor also is giving a second product, same as yours, right? So now you have nothing unique, and your customers are moving towards the other person rather than yours. Then you need to understand what you should be doing with the add-on features with your product, with your services, that you can retain your customers or bring them back. So there should be some additional features, additional services you should be offering to the customers so that they can be retained. See, unless and until you are a brand, right? Because when it's a brand, you will have your followers even if there's a new product. So we have people who would still prefer a specific brand even if there's a new brand is better. So to be a brand, it would take time. So if you're not a brand itself, right? So you have to keep on innovating and you're trying new ways of attracting or retaining your customers.
There is one more question. Again, I'm trying to ask him to unmute himself. I don't know. People are not raising hands. So I'll just read out. As a business plan, customer needs advancement in product, but it will increase cost also. Then how to approach such customers? This is the question. I don't know how he has stated that question. Mr. Adish?
I think maybe he wants to understand if he wants to improve the quality. So add-on features, then the cost also would increase.
Right.
Yeah, so obviously when you are giving better features, your cost is going to increase. But then if you're giving a quality product, then you have to work on your pricing strategy. As I said, one strategy is you price at a value at which you are selling. So if the cost is on a higher side, the price also should be fair enough. So the customer is ready to pay because the quality is on a better side. So that strategy should be implemented, because you should not be scared because there is a value in your product. So you should go ahead with value pricing so that you know that you're charging high, but there is a value of your product also. That's the reason why we prefer, I'm sure you prefer a denim which is branded, right? Because you know then a local denim would not last for a longer time. So So if you're spending 2,000, 3,000 bucks on a denim, then you know that the quality also is good. If your product is good, you're spending money on a better quality. And if you're charging that amount, I'm sure your customers would pay you.
Yeah. So thank you. I believe there are no more questions. I had
Okay.
one person who had said that he would ask a question, but now he's not in the meeting. So
Okay,
like
sir.
every time, I would request Jitendra Singh Gaur to please deliver the vote of thanks for this session. So those sir, please go ahead. You are unmuted.
Yeah, hello. So this was a very nice presentation, and this will help everyone. As we know that all of the participants or everyone is not going to start a business, is not going to be a businessman. Most of us will anyways be serving into one or other industry. But this business plan basic understanding will help everyone to know what, like if you are working in a industry or in a private business or in a startup, so we must know what is the business plan of the company owner. Because I see many of the people complain that my seniors or the business owner is not providing me the resources. I want to do this research, but there are no budgets available. Budget is not approved. So the reason behind it that the thing which you are asking or you are demanding, even though it is nice, but it is not a part of the business plan of the company owner. Or sometime the it is there in the plan, but it is not right time to initiate, and maybe the funds or the budgets are not available. So that's why the things are denied. So it is important as an employee also to understand the business plan of a company. So the one thing which suits to Apple may not be suitable to Maruti Suzuki, because Maruti Suzuki is their USP is to provide a low cost vehicle um, to their customers. So if you see any other company's vehicle in their competition, the Maruti Suzuki has the vehicle with same features, same look at a lower cost. So this is the USP. So Maruti Suzuki will never ask their employee um, to include any product or any feature which is of very low cost. So, but the same thing may be available in BMW. The point point why I mention is, like as an employee also we should understand the business plan of the company owner, and also all of the things which Madam mentioned in the presentation will be surely very helpful to the people who want to initiate the business. So I think that was a thorough presentation focusing every aspect for any startup. So thank you, madam, for this nice presentation, and we will be really get benefited with this PPT. So I will once again request on behalf of all participants to share your presentation with us. And thank you everyone for attending this session. Thank you, Dhaman Gaonkar sir, for sharing his experience and key points with the participants. And thank you, Mane sir, for coordinating this session very well. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. So we come to an end, and we'll just end the meeting now, and we'll be back again in the evening at 5:20 p.m. for the last session. So again, I'd like to thank Dr. Vinita, madam, for her inputs, and obviously, I'd like to thank all the participants who have attended. So I see there is a poll. Uh, I, by I don't know who has raised that poll. So I request all the participants to poll for this particularly. Um, okay, this is an old poll. I don't know who has raised this poll. We need to end this poll. Yeah, and we'll end the meeting. Thank you all.